I hope you enjoyed your lunch. It's just 3 minutes to 2, and we're going to have, I think, about 3 or 4 presentations from this particular session. And one of the presentation, I think, is going to be online. That will be the third presentation. But I'm honored to have you. So here as participants, and I'm looking forward to a very lively and quite an interactive session. The first presenter is Dr. Agnieszka Fotonska, who is an assistant professor at Lazarski University in Warsaw. Is a lecturer at the University also of Silesia in Katowice and employee of Polish airports. She's a participant and speaker of many national and international conferences. She has written extensively and an author of numerous publications and a scholarship holder of PEP program in Europe, private law for postgraduate. Her scientific interest includes topics related to international law, European Union law, civil law, and transport law. In particular, she have got a keen interest in aviation law. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dr. Agnieszka, who is going to present on a title that is written, The System of Quick Advance Payment for Air Passengers. Let's clap hands as she comes to the front.
Thank you for nice presenting me, and one more time, thank you for organizing such beautiful conference, and I'm happy to be here for the first time, especially at this university and in your city and also in your country. As I was introduced, I'm the worker at Lazarski University and Silesian University in Poland and Polish airports. And today I will be talking about the system of quick advance payments. And I hope one day you have heard about what the quick advance payments, because honestly speaking, when it comes to this term and this kind of situation, all of us can meet this situation one day when we can get this quick advance payment or not. Of course, it will be up to the situation which we are in. And about the purpose of my article. First of all, I would like to tell a bit about the system. On the other hand, I will tell you about the regulations which we have on international and European Union levels, because it's quite important that we have different regulation on each levels. Of course, when it comes to national level, it could be different ones, and it's crucial because on the next steps of my presentation, I will explain you why this national level, it's really crucial when it comes to rapid payments. And next things which I would like to discuss, it will be some examples of aircraft accidents. And of course, I will tell you what kind of regulation were applicable and what kind of solutions airlines propose to passengers. At the beginning of this presentation, the most important thing is the genesis of the regulations and of the provisions which are applicable in the context of advance payments. First of all, Montreal Convention. As probably you have heard about Montreal Convention and Montreal Conference, which was a pretty long time ago. During this conference, delegates from all of the world were discussing what to do if it will be the accident and the passengers would die, or if the members of family lost their family members, what kind of solutions they can propose. Because as you probably know, in history of aviation, there were many cases in which the accidents has happened. And in this situation, members of families of victims, they were asking for getting some compensation, but of course, on the other hand, they were asking about some help from the airlines, because first company which are on the target of the passengers, it's always the airline, which was carrying passengers. And in this context was the question, what kind of help the passengers can get when they are injured, or what kind of help the family members can get. And one example, it was the Switzerland, because in this country was the accident in 1998, and this accident in which all passengers on board died was the motivation to give the advance payment for passengers' family. In this case, the airlines decided that the most important thing is the family support, and they were discussing what to do, what kind of help they can provide, how many euros or dollars they can give to the family members. So they were discussing what to do, because in Switzerland they didn't have the national law which could indicate what the rules are in the context of advance payment. And as I said, during this conference, the rest of the delegates they were deliberating what to do. Some proposal was that this advance payment has to be mandatory. Of course, different votes were that there has to be some provisions on national level and on international level. Because, as I said, for the airlines, for the countries, the most important has to be the God of families. And as I mentioned here, this was the motivation, the accident in 1998. Next step, it was created in 1999. It was the creation of the Montreal Convention, and this convention was published. After this conference, as I mentioned, the delegates decided that has to be the provision. After the discussing all the solutions, they decided that the conditions for the payment of advance payment are, which are indicated here. An aircraft accident resulting in the death or bodily injury of passengers, the national law of the carrier must require the advance payments be made. And of course, it was also indicated that the Montreal Convention, this most important document when it comes to international law, must apply in this in the case. And looking into Article 28, which is in Montreal Convention, we can discuss the things which are here. First of all, we have point number 1. An advance payment will only be made if the national law of the carrier establishes such a requirement. So as I mentioned a couple of minutes before, this national level is crucial, because if we don't have any provisions about the advance payment in national law, the Montreal Convention cannot be applicable because it's literally mentioned here that there is the national law, then it can be also advance payment, of course, if all the necessary requirements will be made. And in this case, a lot of passengers who were injured or the family members couldn't get any advance payment because they didn't meet this requirement. Next, second thing which it could be under the discussion is the legislator used the term immediately, but we don't have any definition what does it mean immediately. Of course, when it comes to the language, we can think that immediately it means so fast, quickly, but it cannot be like this. Because when it comes to giving this rapid advance payment, of course, each air carrier has to take into consideration a lot of requirements. First of all, when it comes to the accident, sometimes it's like this, that we have just remains of the passengers. So it's really hard to identify the passenger, and then it's really hard to find of the body which could be recognized by family members. So then it has to be a DNA test which prove that there is the passenger, and then we can find the family who can get this rapid payment. So in some cases, we have to wait really long. And when it comes to getting this rapid payment, of course, we have to find the certificate of death. And as I said, if we have just remains, it takes time to verify that our family member has already died. Here we have point 3, which also is important, and we can discuss a lot of here. And it's mentioned immediate economic needs. So also we can put the question, what exactly this phrase it means? And in each interpretations can of course mean a lot of things like that. We need to have some money for the cost of the funeral. We can have some support for the families at the beginning when our family member has died. So here we don't have any interpretation in regulations of European level and international level. Next, when it comes to regulation, as I mentioned at the beginning, we also have European regulation. And we have Council regulation from 2002, and here we have different provisions comparing the provisions in Montreal Convention. We have the air carrier shall pay the advance payment no later than 15 days from the identification of the person entitled to compensation. So here it also could be some troubles when it comes to identify the person who will be entitled to compensation, because as I mentioned before, it could be first problematic to identify the victim of the air crash. And in 2002, the amount of the advance payment was increased. Here, I just would like to mention that when it comes to European legislator, also he didn't indicate what the list of expenses is. But of course, we can just create some list And when it comes to the real case, we can wait for a decision of the airline and decision of the court. And on the other hand, we have also some doubts about interpretation of urgent. And it's the similar situation in Montreal Convention, because it's also discussion if it's urgent, if it's immediately. Here I would like just to mention what kind of national law we have in United States, because I mentioned what is the law in at international level, at European level, but on the other hand, here we have national level, an example of the United States, and here we have the Aviation Disaster Family Assistance Act. It was from 1996, and pretty fresh act from 2023, and it was the Federal Family Assistance Framework for Aviation Disasters. So all these documents which I mentioned was about the system of rapid advance payment and of coordination of the system, and the support for families when it comes to support, mental support, financial support. And here some examples, because always examples are important to show, to prove what the specific regulations were and how the airlines reacted. And the examples are the Swiss Air Flight 111 crash, the Concorde flight crash. I believe that you remember this crash from 2000, in which all passengers died in case of the metal piece, and in this case also the airline decided to pay the advance payment. Asian Airlines flight and Germanwings flight disaster, so was in case of committing suicide by co-pilot. And my conclusions. So when it comes to this topic, the most important thing is to cooperate between airlines and also the passengers, because I believe that when it comes to the advance payment, it's like this, that on the one hand we have the family members, the people who can be injured during the accident, but for the airlines, sometimes it's really worthy to pay advance payment, because then these airlines can have the respect for society, because the airline can support the family, and of course it's not like this that they are proving that they are guilty in some case. They are just helping before the decision of the court will be in some cases. And in this case, it's really helpful, because family of victims are provided with the assistance, and then it can stabilize the financial situation. And of course, when it comes to the provisions, Montreal Convention, European regulations, and national levels are important to create better law, and of course we can create specific regulation which would help in a better way in the future. Thank you for attention, and if you have some question, I'm free.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have heard a beautiful presentation by Doc. I would like to invite you. We have got, I think, about 3 minutes of question and answer. So maybe if we can have three quick questions, we'll appreciate that.
Okay, so first of all, I just wanted to thank you for your lovely presentation. I learned a lot. My question is, how long did it take them to put the rule of advanced payments into motion?
Okay, so it's of course it's up to the situation because, as I said, there are many conditions which have to be met, and then if it comes to, I believe that it will be a little bit faster when the passenger is just injured because this passenger is still alive, and we have the person who can get this rapid payment. But the situation when we have the passenger who is already dead, then the family members can of course prepare a lot of papers, like as I mentioned, certificate of death, and then it's quite hard to do this so fast. And of course, in some situation, airlines decided very quickly, and I can give some examples. I'm pretty sure that you have heard the situation of Singapore Airlines, in which was the case of air turbulences, and some passengers also were injured. And in this case, the airline decided to give the financial support for the passengers. So in this case was really fast because this case was a couple of months before. So we see that in some cases the reaction is really fast. But in some other examples, we have to wait some time. Of course, it's not like this that we can indicate the exact date, but it depends of the airline. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I learned a bit about some laws that governs aviation, which is critical. We're moving right through. So the next presenter is Dr. Mohammed Al-Zohoubi. Dr. Ahlam earned a PhD in business management from Crime American University and holds an MBA in e-business management from Muta Ohio University. She has held several distinguished academic roles, including head of business and assistant professor at Agnes Kappas University in Cyprus. Additionally, she has served as a research assistant at Gina American University, assistant professor at SP Joint School of Global Management in Dubai, and chair of the Global Business Program at American College, Casablanca in Morocco. She is currently the head of Faculty of Business at Emirates Aviation University. Dr. Al-Zohoubi's research interests focus on relationship between strategic management and institution performance in higher education, brand management in relation to consumer cultural contradictions, and marketing management across international contexts. Ladies and gentlemen, a hand of applause as I lift here.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ahlam from the Faculty of Business in Emirates Aviation University. So today I'm going to present our article that I wrote with Dr. Omar Shafiq, my lovely colleague. Are older employees the most satisfied in the workplace? A meta-analysis case study focused on aviation industry. So throughout my presentation, I will go through the study purpose and significance of the topic, summary of previous research findings, and we will identify gaps in research. Then we will explain the meta-analysis approach, which is our main method of data analysis. Then we will present the key findings of statistical analysis, then a summary and implication, and some recommendations for the future research. All right, so before I start with the main content of our article, let me share with you a few entertaining insights about the relationship between age and job satisfaction in any workplace. Now, we have something that what we call the déjà vu effect. For long-time employees, their ability to predict what's next in their workplaces might add a little bit of higher job satisfaction and a little bit of fun in their work routine. The back in my days stories. Older employees often share these stories. All right, back then we used to do things in this way. So they keep comparing how things used to be with how they are now, and that will add also a bit of fun and a higher level of job satisfaction. The survival of the fittest. Now, for the employees who navigated the office politics and survived to tell the tale later on to their younger colleagues and counterparts, they will have a higher level of job satisfaction. The meeting marathon, let's say race. So normally older employees are proud of their stamina and strength for back-to-back meeting, and this will add somehow pride and a higher level of job satisfaction compared to their younger colleagues. The mentor role reversals. We often see senior employees or older employees keep mentoring their younger colleagues, and that might add also a layer of or a unique, let's say, level of satisfaction because they keep mentoring their younger colleagues not only about work-related tasks but also about life. The grumpy old man myth suggests that, contrary to the stereotype that older employees are always complaining, they are grumpy, they actually tend to complain less about work. All right. Now, I have to say that the relationship between age and job satisfaction has been a topic of interest in the organizational research because of its importance and implication to workforce management and, let's say, organizational policy. So a few facts about such relationship that will connect our two variables, age and job satisfaction, that are supported by various studies. U-shaped relationship. Many previous studies indicated that the relationship between age and job satisfaction is a U-shaped, meaning the job satisfaction higher among older and younger employees and lower in the middle-aged employees. Why is that? Because of the change in values, expectations, and roles in the workplace. Generational differences. We all know that different generations tend to report different levels of job satisfaction. For example, baby boomers, they used to adore and appreciate safety, security, and loyalty in their workplaces, while millennials, they appreciate meaningful work and work-life balance. Adaptation and expectations. Older workers often better at adapt their expectations and hence may report higher level of job satisfaction. Why is that? Because older employees developed a lifetime of learning how to cope with work-related challenges and also how to balance their work life. Impact of job characteristics. Now we have to say the features, the characteristics of any job play a significant role in job satisfaction. For instance, jobs that provide autonomy, place for skill utilization tend to satisfy older employees more. Now, taking into consideration all these facts supported by various previous studies, we understand that the relationship between age and job satisfaction is very complex, and such relationship is influenced by personal, generational, and let's say organizational differences. Now, why we chose this topic? Because such relationship require further research, is always needed to understand this dynamic, considering the evolving nature of workforce and workplaces themselves. So, our study investigates the relationship between age and job satisfaction within the aviation industry. And we will highlight conflicting results about such relationship by employing and using meta-analysis technique. Just to clarify why we have many conflicting results, when we conducted the literature review, we already saw that many studies contradict each other and they have very different findings and results whenever it comes to age and job satisfaction. For example, a paper wrote by Bass and Green-Rees found no correlation between age and job satisfaction, while Kilberg and Hickson suggest that there is a correlation, positive relationship between age and job satisfaction. All right, so the main method that we employed and utilized here is a meta-analysis, let's say statistical tool. What is meta-analysis? It's a very sophisticated statistical, let's say, technique, and we chose to use such technique because it's ideal, it's useful whenever we have many papers, many individual studies that contradict each other, and again, that have inconclusive results. All right. For the ones who are familiar with meta-analysis, we need to apply certain standards, certain criteria to include the previous studies that mentioned in specific the relationship between age and job satisfaction. So we targeted studies that focused on age, meaning they included some or provided, let's say, data on job satisfaction across age groups. Then we also employed or filtered such previous studies if they have, let's say, high quality, they consider age and job satisfaction in different relationships, and of course published and peer-reviewed. So we included, after applying the criteria and standards, only 20 independent, let's say, studies in our analysis, and this to determine if there is any relationship between age and job satisfaction. All right, so when we used the meta-analysis, and again, if you are familiar with such statistical tool, you will understand that at the end, it will generate for us what we call forest plot or dot plot. And this will help us to see the results and visualize all the findings for all our 20 independent studies. Here is a brief summary about our results, and this is what we call dot plot or forest plot that we generated from meta-analysis. Now, when we look at this dot plot, we will see positive correlation coefficient and negative correlation coefficient. Each dot that you see here represent studies correlation coefficient that mentioned and explained the relationship between age and job satisfaction. So any dot that you can see here between 0 to 0.4 and above indicate positive relationship. Age increase, job satisfaction increase. On the contrary, any value that you will see between 0 and minus 0.04 and above in the minus side, it means inverse or negative relationship. Age increase, job satisfaction decrease. So if you look at all the dots, they are scattered and there is no consistent pattern, meaning again, the relationship remain inconsistent. And we already included only those studies that targeted, let's say, workers in aviation industry aged 35 years and above. So we can understand that, again, even with our analysis and even with our filtering, let's say, criteria and standards, the relationship between age and job satisfaction in the aviation industry among employees aged 35 and above remain weak, not that much strong. And that will challenge the assumption that older employees experience higher level of job satisfaction. So we tried to fill the gap in research, but we concluded that, again, such relationship is not yet proven. So our recommendations for future research is to, one, we need to include maybe in any other future paper more precise age categorization or grouping, and we need to utilize more advanced sampling technique methods. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. I learned a lot. But we have got, I think, a bit of time to entertain some questions. So, colleagues, this is your chance to interact with our esteemed researcher. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ahlam, for your amazing speech. I just wanted to ask, do you think the relationship between age and job satisfaction could differ in different industries?
Yes, of course. That's why we already mentioned that job characteristic and where you work, your workplace, can be considered as a variable for your future, let's say, paper or future research about such relationship, all right? So maybe we can consider or add more independent variables or more moderators to understand exactly what type of relationship between age and job satisfaction. For example, generational differences can play a role. Where you work, the nature of your work, the type of leadership, all of these variables we may include later on.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Doctor.
Any other question?
Hi. I would like to ask if the integration of technology can make a difference in the satisfaction among people from different ages, as such that older people might find it difficult to adapt to technology. And does that have a bad consequence?
Excellent question. And I have to reply to you by saying that the more we add technology, the more older employees will be less satisfied. Why? Because older employees are not really used to change or any organizational change such as IT, all right? And there must be resistance to change, and it's such a huge topic in organizational research. So yes, there might be some challenges, but again, it will depend how you manage, how you can, let's say, satisfy older employees to say, hey, you still have a place where you can utilize your skills. All right?
Thank you.
Most welcome. Any other question? All right, thank you so much.
So maybe before you go, one from the chair, because we have got a bit of time, can I give you one? Yes, for you. What would be your recommendations in terms of what is it that can be done to ensure that the distortions that exist within job satisfaction by age are eliminated?
All right. So again, I have to answer your question by saying there must be some generational differences, and that will impact the level of job satisfaction, all right? For example, I had a discussion with one of the cabin crews, and she mentioned the type of training we provide for Generation Z is completely different from the, let's say, training we provided for millennials before, all right? And all of these things to take the precautions to ensure they have the skills, the competency, so they will have eventually a higher level of job satisfaction. So it's a very dynamic, comprehensive process, and many variables might enter such relationship.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take another presenter. This presenter is going to present online We're going to hear from Mr. Aliyu Tata, who is the head of aviation of business. Okay. So allow colleagues to move. Perhaps our IT can bring the presenter. All right. So we're going to hear from Mr. Aliyu Tata, who is the head of aviation business department and chairperson of professional training program at African Aviation Aerospace, AAU in Abuja, Nigeria. He holds a Bachelor of Education and Administration planning from Abu Zaria, postgraduate diploma in training and logistics, Masters in Transport and Logistics, and MSc in Air Transport Management from Coventry University, West Midlands, United Kingdom. And he has completed a PhD thesis in Air Transport Management from Swinburne University of Technology in Melbourne, Australia, and currently awaiting final assessment. Tata is a highly specialized aviation undergraduate and postgraduate experienced. Tata is one of the ICAO certified aviation security instructions in the world. In addition, he obtained an IATA certificate in airline revenue management in the UK and experienced airport and airline simulating using ARENA model. Tata received a number of ICAO International Fellowship Program, including ROC ICAO Fellowship in Aerodrome Safety Management, in incorporating PANS from Linchin Airport Aviation Academy in Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hand over to Tata. Tata, over to you.
Hello, good morning or afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah, it is morning in Nigeria. This is morning. Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present our research paper titled A Review of Potential Causes of Aircraft Incursion. Can I have the slides, please? Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. Having said that, we are so grateful for having this opportunity, and I need to extend a gratitude from my university, the African Aviation and Aerospace University, for sponsoring and participating in this great program. As you have said, my name is Ali Mohammed Tata. As you mentioned, head of departments of aviation business. The title I mentioned, a review of main causes of the runway excursion, history of aviation markets across the world. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. So to begin with an introduction, I'm happy to say that aviation safety is so crucial component. Is an issue of concern to the industry. It has been an issue for a very long time, and it will continue to be an issue. So in this research paper, we focus on the runway excursion among the most common types of incident and have considerable financial and safety implications. Whenever a runway incursion occurs, all over the world or in a particular region, it affects the industry operations at large. Passengers have been affected, airline operators and airports have been affected. So let me begin to define what is the runway excursion. This is a typical incident, of course, when an aircraft veers off or overruns the runway. This will happen during the takeoff or during the landing. What are the impacts of this runway excursion? I've said again, financial costs due to the damage of the aircraft, sometimes damages at the airport runway, sometimes damages at the other facilities around the runway. It creates a big impact. This is why it is necessary to undertake a study to understand the causes, to identify the potential causes, so that at the end we can now suggest measures that we can now mitigate this in order to achieve the sustainability. In order to achieve sustainability in the aviation industry. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, go to the next slide, please. Yeah. Can you go to the next slide, please? This one. Okay, so having identified their types, the veer off or overrun the aircraft, which exceed the landway, the common contributing factors are weather, maybe sometimes not the weather, but the supply, the pilot themselves as a result of their error, or sometimes an environmental conditions. Sometimes an error occurs as a result of the communication between the pilot and the ATC. Can you go to the next slide, please? We understand the common factors. Let's go to the next slide. In this slide, I will introduce what the methodologies the authors use. For example, we use systematic review. The reason why we use systematic review to try to get the data so that the data that can generalize the target markets. So we use database. Some of the information we gathered it from IBIS World. Some of the information we gathered it from the scope. Some of the information we gathered it from the published documents by the industry partners. The review period is from 2010 to 2023. Why we capture this is to have an overview of at least a decade to see what are the problems. So we analyzed this accident report, air traffic data, and then we came up with this data. We had a criteria, an inclusion and exclusion criteria, whereby only incidents involving aircraft, not including the military, not including the aircraft for the special operations. So this is how we got this data, and then we use the SPSS to easy facilitating the analysis of the data. Can you please go to the next slide, please? Okay, in this slide, because we gathered the data from the civil aviation markets. The civil aviation markets, basically three major markets are from the America, North America, South America, and then Central America. We use this to at least to follow, to get an overview from the majority of the major markets around the world. Let's have a causes in North America. The major cause of the runway excursion in North America, having got this information from our research paper, it was basically an adverse weather. We know American environment, they are exposed with snow, with ice, with rain. Sometimes the slippery on the runway causes this runway excursion in American aviation markets. Then second, to the adverse weather and human error. Fatigue is more common. Sometimes miscommunication between the pilot and the traffic control, which appears to be a causes in other markets. Let me say, to give an example, case of San Francisco International Airport, where heavy rain caused a commercial aircraft to overrun the runway. Then the mitigation. The mitigation that we got from the data on this particular environment is recommended to improve the runway, friction testing, enhance pilot training, not only training and retraining for bad weather conditions, whereby technology can help to understand how pilots can mitigate the impact of the runway excursion. From the picture here under the tape, from this slide, you can have a typical about how they don't in the North American markets. Let's go to the next. Can we go to the next slide, please? Let's go to the next slide. Yeah. Okay. Are we on the next slide? Okay. Then having the courses in the Europe, basically the courses in the Europe market, we got the data, we found that it was the weight and contaminated runways. These two basic problems are the problems affecting or causes the runway excursion in the European markets. Weight and contaminated runways. Higher instance due to the weight or slippery conditions, technical failures, brake. Hello? Hello? Are you together with me? Hello? Okay, yeah. Issues which cause as a result of malfunctioning of the brake, which cause the runway excursion. I will share a case study here, a beer of incident at Paris, Charles de Gaulle Airport due to the brake failure. So the mitigation proposed for the European aviation market is the use of advanced surface condition reporting system. So that reporting system can help to improve the runway drainage, and then a visual runway with weight with train can also enhance the mitigation. Let's go to the next slide. Courses in Asia. Asia Pacific is one of the aviation market. Hello? Hello? Yeah, are you together with me? Hello? Yeah, are you together with me? Okay. Can I continue? Can I continue? Okay. So I'm in Asia Pacific, where I said rapid traffic growth over congested airport lead to runway excursion. For example, we know the IATA prediction that, hello? Hello, are you hearing me? Okay, yeah, we know that IATA prediction in 2025, Asia will be one of the highest markets that will get more traffic, volume compared to other markets. So here we found from the data that rapid traffic growth over congested airport lead to the runway excursion. For example, infrastructure limitations in some airports, not all airports in the Asia Pacific, but some airports. Some runways lack the latest safety facilities. An example to give here, is from Tokyo, another airport, which basically caused by infrastructure challenges. Some runway excursion occurred as a result of infrastructure challenges. Mitigation here that we propose from this research paper is an investment in the newer safety technologies like engineered materials, and then RSO system, that is EMAS. EMAS can help a lot in mitigating or reducing the impact of runway excursion in Asia market. Let's go to the Middle East, where the Middle East, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, is a host of this international conference organized for the 5th time. So the key courses in the UAE or in the Middle East, where we cite an example with the Qatar and Saudi Airlines, where we found from the data it has been reported as the bird strike. Bird strike, particularly during migration reasons. When birds are migrating from one place to another, coming through the runway, and then if it appears that aircraft landing or taking off, then occurred with bird strike, which necessitate aircraft to runway excursion. Then another big issue in the Middle East, the hot climates and the regional migration, again, whereby increase the risks. Airport face challenges with bird strike, particularly due to proximity, because the closeness of the natural habitat and the lack of advanced wildlife management. So the mitigation here is to ensure a wildlife management plan, so that wildlife management plan can help immensely to ensure reducing the impact of the runway excursion in the Middle East. The courses in Africa, where the African University is located. So key causes in Africa: sudden weather changes, a lack of prediction, accurate prediction of the weather causes, runway excursion in Africa. Technical issues are also the causes. Older aircraft with outdated system and technologies are also part of the causes. Let me share to you the case study of Cairo International Airport incident and skid failure during the landing. It occurs in Nigeria many times. This year, as I'm talking to you, we have latest data that we have not included in this research, but 2 to 3 times in Nigeria, we experience runway excursion, which cause a lot of problems to the operations at the 2 major airports in Nigeria, Abuja and Lagos.
Talk.
Then how do we mitigate this issue?
Hello? I'm gonna
Hello?
give you 2 minutes to wrap up.
Okay. Yeah. Then modernization of African fleets to bring more sophisticated aircraft to modern technology can help a lot. Then the mechanical, here on this slide, I'm trying to present the general causes affecting all the markets. Mechanical issues, technical failures, reverse throws are some of these issues. Bird strike generally affect these issues in Nigeria and Africa, and then and other countries. Air traffic control, errors, communication, error, human error, the side of the air traffic control towards also affect the system. Technological solution. So technological solutions can enhance this mitigation. Then finally, last but not the least, I can say recommendation. Short-term recommendation increases runway safety training for pilots, improve weather forecasting, and runway fraction assessment. And then for the long-term recommendation, global collaboration between aviation authorities, adoption of better communication protocols can enhance the reduction of the runway excursion. Visual illustration of runway safety measures by the safety managers, taking out any DOF so that it can help to solve this problem. Runway excursion are preventable through the better technology training and collaboration. Long-term investment is required. Visual image of the aircraft landing system is mandatory to mitigate this problem. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present this paper. Thank you very much. This is the time to receive any questions from any of the listeners. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, colleagues. One quick question from the floor.
Thank you so much for your lovely presentation. We learned so much from it. However, I do have one question. Have runway excursions incidents, have they increased or decreased over time in these markets?
Hello.
Hello? Could you hear me?
Anybody with question, please?
Thank you so much for your lovely presentation. We learned so much from it. However, I have one question.
Okay, please.
Have runway excursions incidents increased or decreased over time in these markets?
Yeah, by looking at the analysis, runway excursion, let me give you an example with the African aviation market. Runway excursion is one of the increasing incidents in the aviation. Specifically, I will mention in Nigeria. Look at the pattern of the runway excursion. Three times in 3 months, these incidents occurred in Nigeria. One of my colleagues was involved in one of the incidents where they have to divert the aircraft to another airport, and then which caused a closure of that airport and disruption. So to the base of my research and my personal opinion on this, I think I would say it is increasing. But I know that the airport operators, the air transport regulators are working hard to see how they can reduce. Because why it is increasing, every day you go onto the platforms, the aviation data, you can find a news about runway excursion, either happening in America or happening around the China or Asia market, or sometimes in Europe. I think the industry is doing well, but to me, I can say it is increasing. Thank you very much for this question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tata, for that wonderful presentation on that particular interesting topic. We're moving right along because of time. We are going to move swiftly to another presentation by Dr. Nidi Chaturvedi, who serves as the program coordinator and senior lecturer at Emirates Aviation, Dubai, UAE. She has got extensive teaching career spanning 18 years in the realm of business management education. She brings a wealth of proven expertise to her role. Dr. Chaturvedi holds a PhD in marketing management and focuses her research on consumer buying behavior, strategic management, marketing management, human resource management, and aviation. Furthermore, she holds a master's in business administration with specializing in marketing and information technology. Her academic pursuits encompasses a broad spectrum, including marketing management, consumer behavior, strategic management, project management, international HRM, strategic HRM, and organizational behavior. Dr. Chaduvedi excels in teaching, tutoring, and mentoring students, showcasing commitment to their academic growth. Additionally, she demonstrated leadership prowess through a dedicated performance of various leadership tasks within the educational domain. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up to Dr. Chadu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dubey, for that wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Nidhi, along with my colleague, Ms. Ronak, we are here to present our research study on the topic Revenge Tourism Post-COVID-19, Analyzing the Surge and its Implications for the Travel Industry. While tourism, as we all know, is an important aspect of any economy, right? It has developed in the recent past and contributed a lot to most of the economic development due to changes in people's lifestyle, low budget airlines, the cost of the airline, travel cost, and desire for knowledge. Well, we know that tourism contributes to the socio and economic development of many countries. It's an important pillar for the economic development. It provides for the any nation's infrastructure development, revenue is increased, sense of cultural exchange is generated using the tourism as a platform, and most often visitors, while they visit the host countries, often contributes to the cultural richness of the host country. So the study spans pre-pandemic, pandemic, as well as the post-pandemic travel trends and how these trends have developed over a period of time. So prior to the pandemic, we know that the travel industry was surging with an, the surge was initially, targeting, and we saw 7% of the global, exports by 2016. The tourism sector contributed to almost 10% of the world's total GDP, and by end of 2026, it was anticipated that the travel and tourism sector would contribute to almost 11% to the GDP. But we all witnessed what we never wanted to witness, that was pandemic COVID-19, which arrived with all its kind of negativity to the world. And we saw that how COVID-19 pandemic completely disrupted the international tourism, especially leading to travel bans, lockdowns were reported, closures were there, which significantly reduced tourism activity across the globe. So the downturn basically, we saw that almost 50% of the revenue was lost, and there was 74% drop in tourism activities or tourist travels in 2020. So the V shape, I will talk about it later, but that was a sudden, very significant drop in the tourist sector. So the concept of revenge tourism on which our study is based. So what exactly is revenge tourism and how it has played a significant role both positively as well as contributed to some of the challenges many countries are facing. So after enduring lockdowns that made international travel nearly impossible, many travelers found a new zest for travel, leading to a trend that is seeing countless people traveling for longer and more frequently. Revenge travel gained popularity on social media in 2021, and it flourished in 2022 as people flocked to worldwide destinations after being unable to do so for the last 2 years. Not only are more people traveling more often, but they are also exploring new ways to spend money that was not previously reported before the pandemic. The concept gained popularity, and it became a bandwagon concept. For the people wanted to compensate for the time they lost during the pandemic, and there was a lockdown fatigue which was reported later on during the pandemic. So individuals, they just desired to escape that lockdown fatigue, right? And they just wanted to take revenge by traveling. The traveling could be to any place. They wanted to travel to short, to short destination, domestic travel, or anywhere. So the concept of revenge, taken by the travelers, it contributed a lot to the economies, but also, it created a lot of psychological and emotional problems. So the studies, basically, many of the studies cited in the research paper, they found that as pandemic and in areas where pandemic was more, the desired travel was even more. That people wanted to just escape that. So revenge travel push factors were social isolation, anxiety, and mental well-being. People were willing to travel even with, all kinds of travel restrictions were there, so they wanted to explore areas and they just wanted to escape that fatigue. Research across different regions revealed a common trend of people prioritizing leisure, travel over concerns about virus despite ongoing anxiety and health risk. Domestic travel in particular gained popularity post-pandemic, and these trends emphasize the importance of addressing both psychological as well as practical concerns for the travel industry, which was adapting to the post-pandemic scenario. So what exactly do we want to uncover with our study? The study explores revenge tourism or revenge travel, as I said, focusing on the psychological motivations and changes in travel behavior. It examines the cognitive factors such as risk management and emotion, such as fear and frustration that drive that revenge, that why people want to travel. So 3 research objectives were formulated along with the hypothesis: to assess the rise of revenge tourism post-pandemic, to investigate the influences on travelers' cognitive and emotional well-being during the pandemic, and to identify and compare changes in travelers' behavior pre and post-pandemic. Research methodology used for the research was non-experimental quantitative design was used, since it's a quantitative study. The research philosophy followed was positivism, and the methodology used was deductive. Primary research was conducted using semi-structured questionnaire, using non-probability sample survey, using convenience sampling technique. Data analysis and findings. So the data was analyzed using SPSS. The data tools used were skewness, kurtosis, Cronbach, alpha, factor analysis, and descriptive statistics as were relevant for the study. Most of the sample demographic, while we suggest that the demographic, almost 65% were found to be male in the age group of 18 to 30 years. And as with UAE, we can see the sample was spread across several nationalities, including UAE, Asia, and GCC countries. So what are the key findings as per the research objectives? So first one, examining the post-COVID travel desires. Now the study shows light on some of the key motivators for revenge travel. People wanted to compensate for the lost time. They wanted to enjoy the restrictions which were lifting or which were gradually lifting across different countries. And they wanted to reconnect with their family and friends. These were the major factors for traveling for most of the people. The data also indicated a strong desire for immediate post-pandemic travel, driven by the urge to reconnect and seek stress relief and freedom. Right? The research objective 2, the study found that the people who experienced increased anxiety and stress due to pandemic wanted to travel more. They just wanted to escape. Anxiety, frustration, and sadness were found to be key 3 motivators or 3 factors due to which people wanted to travel. Post-pandemic, people expressed a strong eagerness to travel and are more flexible to travel. So multiple factors significantly influenced travelers' emotional well-being during pandemic. Post-pandemic, like I said, they express strong eagerness to travel and are more flexible now in order to travel, and they are not caring about many times the budget, and the destination choices are there. So new destinations have come up for many of the travelers to choose from, and there are many destinations which were earlier unexplored or were not visited as often are now being visited by many people across the globe. So these findings basically indicate that there is a significant behavioral change amongst travelers pre and post COVID-19. So the overall research findings while we talk about, so the research in itself gives a significant, we can say it throws light on many of the aspects of how traveler behavior has changed or shifted while it was before pandemic and now after the pandemic. There is a significant rise in revenge tourism. People just want to travel irrespective of visa restrictions, budget, irrespective of expenses, irrespective of so many other factors, psychological factors, emotional factors, but people do want to travel. There is a strong eagerness to resume travel motivated by reconnecting with loved ones, relieving stress and seeking new experiences. The pandemic also found and had a profound impact on travelers' cognitive and emotional well-being, with many people reporting increased anxiety and stress due to the pandemic. So emotions such as anxiety and stress were found to be dominating amongst, globally when the regional studies were conducted. In our study also we found that anxiety and frustration were the two key factors due to which people wanted to travel. So definitely the travel behavior has shifted post-pandemic because the choices are now different. The way people are traveling and the patterns and the travel trends have significantly changed or evolved during the pandemic and post-pandemic. So of course, recommendations. Now, though we know that on one hand, revenge tourism or revenge travel has kind of revived the entire hospitality industry. When we say V-shaped recovery or when the industry was significantly dipping down and it had, it lost all its revenue during the pandemic, the revenge tourism concept or the revenge travel concept basically revived the industry, including airline, the hotels, and the other associated industry. So, but it also posed challenges for destinations such as Bali, Italy, to name few, where the countries or the regions were not able to sustain that amount of crowd, right? And it led to a lot of irresponsible tourism in such places because of the resources were not there and the governments had no way or the authorities had no way to check such kind of crowd and management. So some of the recommendations of the study are that we can have a positive approach to revenge tourism or revenge travel, which is sustainable tourism or responsible tourism, where we as tourists, when we visit places, we live in a country which is visited by millions across, around the year. So we can say that yes, responsible tourism is a way, or sustainable tourism is an answer to revenge tourism. The study identifies pandemic risk perceptions, travel anxiety, and desire as key predictors of travel intentions. Post-pandemic, demand has gone up and improved safety perceptions, they drive strong travel, areas where the visitors want to travel. So marketing should focus on emotional appeals such as relaxations, adventure, and reconnecting with loved ones as their major motivators and their key advertising factors. Companies should focus on targeted campaigns while destinations emphasize unique experiences. Governments and businesses must invest in infrastructure and their domestic travel patterns. Targeting Gen Z and millennials through obviously apps such as Instagram, TikTok, and other apps which are popular with the generation is crucial, along with promoting sustainable tourism practices. So the future scope of the study. No study is complete in itself. There is always a way out. We can always explore more in the same area. So the future scope of this study, basically the study explores the psychological and behavioral factors such as during the pandemic, such as highlighting how crisis reshape any industry, including the travel. Right? So how different crises, whether it is pandemic or any other geopolitical crisis, how they reshape any sector. It offers fresh insights into pandemic-driven changes in travel decision-making, contributing to risk perception, risk management, and crisis management. The findings are valuable for addressing travelers' concerns and promoting safe travel practices post-pandemic, informing both academic discourse and industry strategists. So to conclude the research, or to conclude our paper, the continued demand for revenge tourism is there. There is no subside, and we do not see that there is a fall in the tourism sector. So the demand for revenge tourism will focus on safety, affordability, and flexibility. Travelers are expected to prioritize destinations which are safer, right? Where they have more strong health measures are there and they feel more stress-free, relief experiences are there. So adaptability and risk management will be key for both the travelers as well as the providers, the regions where they are visiting. These insights can guide targeted marketing and tailor travel experiences, enhancing satisfaction and supporting emotional recovery. So as they say, responsible travel is not only for better for our world, it's also more interesting and memorable. So we do not leave those bad footprints while we go somewhere. You know, as responsible tourists, as travel patterns change, as we are exploring new places, could be due to visa restrictions, could be due to geopolitical, scenarios changing, could be the airlines are also exploring new regions and areas. We can always contribute to the sustainable tourism part. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That was quite interesting case study. Colleagues, over to you. Can we have 2, 3 questions? Yes, one question there.
Hi. It's a very interesting topic.
Thank you.
The term revenge suggests that it's time delimited, because that it's time delimited, that it's not
Yes.
it's not continuous, it's not ongoing. So do you think that this is something which is a lasting change, or is it just a response? So there's pent-up demand, people were going crazy. I was in Melbourne and we were locked down.
Yes.
Couldn't leave your home, anything like that. So there's a lot of people went pretty crazy as soon as the doors were open.
Yes.
But now they're back to normal. So how is what you're talking about here meaningful in an ongoing situation, or is this short term?
Well, thank you for the question. The studies and the data which we collected and the recent studies which suggest, so still the demand is there, though we cannot call it as revenge, strong revenge as it was post-pandemic. I mean, there is still a surge in demand. I mean, all thanks to many factors, like I said. But yes, like you said, it has to somewhere cool down or calm down, then the things become normal. But at this point, as I speak, 2024, the demand is still extremely high.
But do you think people are looking for different, you were suggesting that people
Yes.
are looking for different types of holiday.
Yes.
So it's not just demand, it's specific niches of demand, which you're talking about responsible tourism.
Yes.
Suggests before it was irresponsible.
No, I'm saying the answer to revenge tourism, or how we can play it, is sustainable or responsible tourism. While we are traveling, there were issues, there are reports and there are news articles which suggest, suppose in Bali, right, they really had a problem with resources, crowd management, and the authorities were not ready for the numbers. The factors could be because, Europe had issues of visa, US had visa issues, so many travelers, they preferred, especially Middle East and Far East Asian countries, they preferred destinations which were far off east. So that put a lot of pressure on those areas and regions because they were not prepared. But like you said, there can be different types of tourism. I mean, lately there is a sleep tourism which has come into picture. People just want to take, a break for sleeping. They are so fatigued from their routine. So that is again one of the sectors which is being explored in the travel part, that you just want to relax. But yes, revenge tourism, because it's a very strong word, right? It kind of resonates a very strong sentiment that we are taking revenge. But that revenge tourism, like I said, it became popular only on social media after 2021 and 2022. So now that fad, or you can say that trend, is becoming normal. People are realizing it is settling down, but still that urge to travel or those trends to travel is still high. And I think numbers of Emirates Airlines can relate to it. We are very busy.
Hi, Doctor. Thank you for the presentation. I had a question. Do you believe that the surge of revenge tourism lead to permanent changes in the industry?
See, changes are never permanent. Any change will change, right? So it was a kind of a response, while we all were in lockdown. So that was a kind of a sudden response to the lockdown. So everyone just wanted to go out, right? When the restrictions were gradually lifted in some areas. Some countries took more time, such as China, right? Other countries were more open. I think Dubai, we can say, we opened up faster than many of the world, regions. So yes, a change is never a constant, permanent change. There are always changes which takes place. And travel and tourism, or I can include the entire hospitality industry, it is a very dynamic industry, and it reacts more, or it is very sensitive because it reacts more to the macro environment, right? Other industries still may have a certain response, but we as a hospitality, especially airline, tourism, all the associated industries, we are very sensitive, so we just react more to the, any kind of changes than the rest of the industry. So it is not a proportional response. It is always more than what we will expect from any other industry. So it will change, it will set, something else will come. Like I said, sleep tourism is there, or any other tourism will come up. But yes, the main idea of the research was to throw the highlight on this concept and see to it, how, it was beyond, because it only covered 3 objectives. But if we understand the impact of revenge tourism on different regions, it is different. Some economies, it helped the economies revive, whatever they lost during the pandemic. And some of the, some countries even face challenges, like I said, law and order and other kind of, resource challenges were there. Thank you so much.
Colleagues, thank you very much. Let's give it up again to our hosts, Dr. Nidi. Right. From myself, Professor Caetano Dube from Value University of Technology, who was chairing the session, I would like to thank all the presenters for a wonderful session and the engaged, I think, audience that kept questions coming, quite engaged questions. But anyway, needless to say, this is not the end of the conversation. I think we have got an event in the evening or outside. Let's continue these conversations. But another important thing is also to identify colleagues that you can collaborate with. And we believe that through these presentations that have been made, you can identify 1 or 2 people that you can cross-collaborate with. From myself, we want to end here. Thank you very much for being a wonderful audience and presenters. Have a good evening.